Welcome, Lakshmi. I'm so excited to have you here. As a non-drinker, I appreciate you. One of the things I have noticed in the last little bit is how many of my friends actually don't drink alcohol. They come over to my house and I do Tamale Fest once a year, and you'll find it funny. I have almost completely quit buying any form of alcohol for those events because nobody actually drinks it anymore. Everybody wants the mocktails and the frou-frou sodas and all the other things. And I have to say, it is absolutely delightful as somebody who is a non-drinker. So, welcome, Lakshmi. I'm so happy to have you here. I'm giving you the stage. You have got 25 minutes. I cannot wait to hear you rock it.
Thank you. Hello everyone, I'm Lakshmi Dev. So today we're going to do a little bit of a mindset and an embodiment experience. So part of what I really believe in the big picture of all that we do is that we are living each of our own lives, but as an interconnected collective of human beings and with the earth to experience life fully. And so, what I'll be sharing today is around how your frequency is the key. And it's literally the key to unlocking anything that you desire. It's the key to your happiness. It's the key to what you then see at the end of life as what your experience was. And so, with my background, so I've been in the healing world for over 20 years. I actually created a new life for myself based on what I grew up like. So, I had a lot of trauma in my background. I had a lot of body image issues, self-hatred, eating disorders, addiction. Grew up very poor. I literally lived a life that felt like it was just trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma until I moved out of the house on my 18th birthday. And what I learned through that experience when I reflected back on it was that I was living in a very negative frequency. And everything is a frequency. Everything, whether you call it frequency or you want to call it energy or you call it vibration, you can call it whatever you want to call it, but I'll use the word frequency for today. And so as I developed into an adult, right? When we're 18, we think we are adults, even though we're like pretty much still kids. I knew that, I was meant for more, and I knew I've been always very intuitive and connected with the spiritual world, but I didn't realize my gifts. And so I still continued to live a pretty reckless life. And eventually, I found yoga, and yoga became almost like my lighthouse. So it helped me to start understanding myself, understand my body, understand how we are all energy, understand the physiological as well as the philosophical way that we operate. And so a lot of my work that I've done over the last 20 years started as a foundation in yoga and using the practices. And I'm not talking about going to a yoga class to like work out. I'm talking about the full 8 limbs of yoga, which are really about completion and wholeness, right? So it's your mind, it's your body, it's your breath, it's your acts, right? The selfless service, it's everything. If you look at it as like a big sphere, right? It's like the combination of everything. And so yoga was the beginning, and then it moved into coaching. So I've been a mindset coach for over 10 years now, and really just also exploring what about energy healing. So I have like a million certifications, but the reality is that what I am put on this planet for is to be an inspiration to connect others to each other and also with their spiritual self, and to help women overcome the seemingly impossible. So we all have our own individual seemingly impossible. And when it comes to, I've been an entrepreneur for many, many years. So when it comes to being a business owner as a woman, a lot of times we're almost in this very forceful state. And we all know what that feels like, right? The hustle state, the do it state, the numbers, like Stacy shared, the number state, the stuff that makes us maybe sometimes feel like we don't know what we're doing and we just are kind of lost. And yet we need all of that, right? We need our masculine energy, our frequency that is the masculine in us to operate, as well as we need our feminine energy to be operating. And so, what I want you to think of, and I think most of you do have journals or something to write with, is when you have something in your life that feels like a challenge, a lot of times what's actually happening underneath of all of that, or any of that, or just the one thing, is an insecurity. And I will say that probably one of my biggest beliefs of how we limit ourselves, because you are really the only one limiting you, unless you're literally held hostage by somebody, which hope to God that is never an issue for anyone. You are going to limit yourself through what you think you don't know yet, or a lot of times it goes from one end to the other. It's based on your past, what didn't work, what you feel like is wrong with you, what you've been programmed and conditioned to believe, or you're in your future of, this is what I want, but I don't know how to get it. This is what I see for myself, but I'm not ready yet, right? So we're typically operating in this masculine state and in a future and a past situation that isn't real. Okay, so you are not your past. You're not the circumstances that happened to you in your past. You are a whole human being. And a lot of times we actually need to remind ourselves who we are and remind ourselves of our power. So that's where the frequency becomes key, because you will not experience anything in this lifetime without your body. And the frequency lives inside of our bodies. It's also radiated out beyond our physical being. And so, what I want you to think about is the easiest way to move through this piece that we're going to be doing together is to come up with one thing, one challenge, or one issue, one trigger, one, whatever you want to call it, but something, an obstacle that you feel is causing you to maybe shrink, or to maybe hold back, or to not experience the future that you want for yourself. So we'll start with that. So does everybody have just one thing, and maybe just writing it down, whether it's a sentence or a word or whatever it is? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a method that I created. It's called the Uncover method. And what I started this method from was becoming sober. So I had a 30+ year relationship that was toxic with alcohol. And this was even as a healer. So even though I was working and doing powerful transformational work for women for decades, I still had this relationship with alcohol that just would come and go and was never serving me. So I knew, right? We know subconsciously that these things that we're living are not serving us, but yet sometimes we just don't know how to change it, or we aren't in the frequency and have the frequency around us and in our mindset that's actually going to shift it. So it's really about making that decision. So I'm going to use, my example will be to become sober. Okay. So when I created this, what I realized through my healing work was that every single one of us on this planet is recovering from something. And it could be more than one thing. It could be 5 million things, right? So we all have our own story. We all have our own way of growing up. We all have our own life right now. We all have life happening, and life happens, and it's up to us to stay strong in who we are with conviction and within our own sovereign power. And that comes back to your frequency, how you actually react or respond to situations in your life. And so a lot of what I've seen this come out as is like categories. So what I call the Uncover method comes from unconventional recovery. I don't necessarily look down or frown upon what I would call conventional. So thinking of talk therapy, right? That's conventional. Medication is conventional. A lot of times, like, for sobriety example, AA is conventional. So a lot of these tools, we'll call them tools, are really powerful, but it doesn't mean that because they're told to you by somebody else that they're going to work, that it's going to work for you. So the Uncover method is really about uncovering what's underneath the challenge, what really is unconsciously and subconsciously underneath it, and then working up energetically through, I use the chakras for my examples, but working energetically through your entire system to then come to this sense of awareness that then you can commit to, okay, this is where I'm going. And yet this happens in the present moment. I'm not my past. I know where I want to go, but it happens here, right? Everything happens in the present moment. Your power is alive in the present moment. It's not alive in the past and it's not alive in the future. So it's up to you, and you are the one and the only one responsible for your energy, which is actually really exciting because it means you get to choose in every moment what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, how your perception is about it. So as long as everybody has their one thing, even if you don't, you can still play with this method. We're going to start with, so again, I'll use sobriety as an example. And one thing that came up for me after being sober, and you're then in the reality of life, you're around people, you're in situations, was the trigger of drinking, right? So the first piece that you want to become aware of, is what is underneath this challenge again, or this trigger, whatever it might be. So for me, for example, the desire to grab a drink or to pour a glass of wine. Okay, so you pause, right? This doesn't happen again, future or past. It's in the moment. You pause and you look at what could possibly be underneath this. Typically, you're going to know. You're going to know, oh, I'm stressed out, or so and so said something and that really bothered me. And then you can go deeper, right? And so I use this in an instantaneous type way of moving through something, but I also use this with my clients to coach, and you can also use it for a mindset practice. So you can use this in different ways. This is just one of those like instant ways to use it. So underneath the desire to grab the glass of wine was also boredom, right? Well, I'm bored. So what else am I going to do with myself, right? So you start getting really clear, and then you'll start understanding yourself deeper when you see what's underneath the trigger or the challenge. Now, one thing that I think is really crucial for women is that when there's a trigger or a challenge, we are very emotional beings. It's okay to feel what you feel. And actually, you do need to feel it, because every emotion that's in your body has a purpose. And it's up to you to see how long you sit with that emotion. So you're not doing this to like deny it. This is about sitting with it and learning from it, and then empowering yourself on the other side of it. So when you have an emotion come up around, right, being the trigger, the challenge, there's a reason for it. It has a lesson, it has a message for you, and it's up to you to uncover that message, okay? So the first piece is seeing what you think is underneath this. Okay, well, I'm stressed, or maybe you're hungry, right? I swear to God, when I'm hangry, it's like the whole world's falling apart, and all I really need to do is just eat. So that's a thing. So you look at what's under. What do you really think is underneath this? Well, I'm feeling, and again, a lot of times, and this is a word to explore always and constantly, is insecure. I'm feeling insecure of being able to say no to this, or to open myself up to this, or that I don't have enough knowledge about this, or that I'm too much for that. So insecurity it shows up in many different ways. Find out what is underneath the trigger, and then you can move up from there. So let's say, for my example, the trigger is I want to drink, and I realize that I want to drink because I'm bored. Okay. The next piece, and actually uncover is an acronym. I'm like a total word junkie. So the acronyms that I use are easy to then decipher everything. So the U is what's underneath. The next piece is your N, and that is, you can call it your no, you can call it your not right now, you can call it the not yet. It's your boundary, right? So for me, the trigger is I'm bored. I want this, glass of wine. However, not right now. And it's just making a very simple but powerful decision in that moment. What is the boundary that you're putting around this? And my boundary was, I will not have alcohol in my body. I am a temple. This body is a vessel, and I deserve better, right? So you have to literally just look at, boom, it's like snapping your fingers, snapping yourself out of it. What is the boundary in this moment here right now? Okay, so what's the no? And a lot of times, again, women have a very much like an aversion, a really deep resistance to boundaries, because we are meant, in our old life, in our old world, to nurture, to care for. And it's just, again, it's a fallacy that you've been fed, and it actually is generational as well through your cellular system. So what is the boundary you're putting in place? And that's it. You do it. Okay. So moving on, you have your C, and that is your commitment. And this is something that's huge, whether it's with money, like, or it's with diet, whatever else comes up today in the presentations. When you constantly have the reminder of your commitment in the back of your mind, you have post-its of it, you have, visions of it, whatever you might need, you bring yourself back in, right? It's like realigning your energy. So your frequency is already changing by becoming aware of, okay, this is what's underneath this. I've got, okay, here's the boundary, right? So your energy was like low and like, angry or frustrated, and it's starting to move up. Oh, I'm committed to this. That's right. This is like your why. What is your commitment? So rediscovering it, maybe, um, revisiting it really is the easy way to go. Okay. So once you move into, well, this is what I'm committed to, so I'm not going to go into that rabbit hole. The O is for opportunity. So what is the opportunity? So by saying no to this, putting that boundary, understanding this is what it's related to, recommitting in this moment to my future vision, what is the opportunity that I have in this? And you get to choose what that is, right? Being open to opportunities is huge. It's like it comes from the heart. Okay. So thinking of, the underneath everything is your root chakra. You need to feel safe. A lot of times that insecurity or instability is because you don't feel safe. When you move into your boundaries, you're moving into your sacral chakra. You're moving into, okay, I'm the one in charge of my emotions, my energy, the flow of creating what I create, and I get to put these boundaries up. Then you're moving into your sacral, right? So that's that commitment, the action, the will, that masculine energy of discernment as well. That's your sacral chakra. Your heart, that's open, right? It's expansive, it's love. It's like, what is the beautiful opportunity in this that I'm opening myself up to? And again, you get to choose that. You could write it out, you could feel into it, you could do both. And then the next piece is moving into the V, which is your voice. And for women, this is such a powerful chakra. Our energy actually wraps around this chakra more than any other chakra. So you voice what you actually want, what you're actually opening to, what you're actually committed to. You could say it out loud. You could tell a friend. You could write it down. Even writing is a way of expressing yourself, your true inner voice. However, there's a piece to this one that I want you to think about that's really important, and that is it needs to be authentic to you. There is so much in our lives, in our worlds, in our systems energetically that is around what others want for us or what we think we should have or how we should be acting or how we should show up. And I always say should is shit. It doesn't serve you. It never will. So when you even hear your mind go into, well, I should be doing this, again, interrupt it. Like, what is that? Where is it coming from? Do you really need to be doing that? So this voicing of what you are creating, where you are going forward into, what you are unlocking the doors to with your frequency comes from your most authentic self. Okay, so that's the really big piece. And then that voice, it's voicing the vision. So we move into the third eye in that space there, which our third eye chakra is around your intuition, but it's also around the vision, right? The true reality of what is possible. And this is where I'll say everybody's dreaming too small. Like people are taking life too seriously. This is all about frequency. And if you want something in your life, you need to be in the energy of, I feel good. I feel excited. I feel light. I feel lit up. I feel inspired. I feel, like playful. That is the energy that will keep recreating because energy is an outward and it's an inward, right? It's a flow. It's an energetic. It's like that figure eight. It never stops. So your energetic state being high is going to then bring things to you that are a higher energetic vibration as well. So when you move in from that voicing and that vision of what you have into your third eye, it's around your energy, right? Your embodiment. Like how if you have a vision that you think is maybe like too big, or you have a future that feels very out of reach, how can you embody that though in the moment? Like, what would you be standing like? How would you be surrounding yourself in your, not just your home, but the people around you? How are you moving throughout your day? How are you speaking? How are you showing up? It's all about embodying this new energy and frequency. If you're not in the energy or frequency of, let's just say, like victimhood, that was a very big issue for me for so long, is understanding that I'd always bring it back to, well, that's not fair. I'm not the chosen one, right? Those are frequencies that you then keep recreating. This is where it gets really interesting too. Because you are an intuitive being in a physical form of a body, you actually know everything. You have every answer within. You have all of the knowledge and wisdom that you need within, but sometimes you don't know how to access it. And that's where your intuition comes into play. And so if you have, again, like a vision and it feels too far out of reach, or it's very big, or it's, very it feels almost like you want to touch it, but it's maybe not yours yet. You have to embody the energy of it's already happened. And this isn't about, yeah, I guess it could be like kind of fake it till you make it, but it has to feel real to you. Okay. So even if it's one tiny piece feeling real, it still needs to feel real, because you, again, are in charge of the frequency that's moving out of you, that's also bringing it back in. And an easy example of this, I don't know if you know anybody in your life, or maybe you are, but who's pessimistic? Okay. They're some of the worst people to be around, because no matter what is happening, their perception, right, is that there's something, wrong, or they're critical, or it's all coming from within, right? Everything that we are seeing as a trigger, as a threat, as jealousy, or as whatever, it's our own insecurities. It comes from within. And when your energy is constantly on that negative vibration of expecting the worst, and I used to believe that was what was necessary. If I had no expectations, if I expected the worst, if I just was super negative, then I would not be let down when things went wrong. And the reality was, I was living a very negative vibration life because that's what I chose, even though I thought I was choosing something, and it was a protection. It was a form of protection. So that then comes into your nervous system, which is a whole other subject. So when you are in the energetic state of embodying, like literally feeling in your body what it would feel like. Maybe you see it, you feel it. That is power. That's, you're creating what's in the future in that present moment, that doesn't have to do anything with the past or what maybe has happened. Sometimes we say to you, but in your life. Okay. So then you move up into the top, the crown of the head, the crown chakra, and that's the R. And this is one that I kind of have a little like combination of things. So that's having reverence. You have so much spiritual support, angelic support, divine support, earth support, universal support, generational support, physical human support. There is so much support to give you the life that you desire. And when you have reverence, when you're in such awe of the support that you have in that connection with spirit, as well as yourself, right? It's that inner guru, like you are the one creating your life. When you can have reverence for just how powerful you are, how beautiful you are, how epic your life is, like how much you've actually accomplished versus what you aren't doing yet, that is really powerful energy. And at the same time, that reverence is also, it can stand for, or the R, I guess you would say, is the responsibility. So many people are not living in that place of self-responsibility. And when you allow yourself to be in connection with that, you are responsible for your energy. You have the moment, in every moment you have a chance to choose something different, to feel different. That's where your power lies. So when you change your frequency by whether using that method, easy ways to change your frequency are to be in nature, are to move. I mean, right now, just start shaking, just shake your wrists, shake your hands, like shake, 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 shake. Just do it. Just, who cares who's watching? Turn your camera off if you're freaking out about people seeing you. Close your eyes. Nobody can see if your eyes are closed. But literally shake your hands like you can't shake them any faster or harder. And then pause. Do you feel that? That's energy, right? It's a frequency. So you can change it in any moment with a breath, with movement, with a mind, a thought, with interrupting it. So, what I want to share as I close here is that when you are in your power, you are in the present moment. You cannot create again in the future or the past. You have to do it in the moment. And the easiest way to do that is to be in the frequency of feeling good, right? It's okay if you feel bad. We're human, we're going to feel bad. It's how long you give to those negative experiences and emotions, because an emotion only literally lasts up to 90 seconds. That's it. 6 seconds is actually what it is, 6 to 90, but 90 seconds. Everything else with that emotion is a story. So it's all about your stories are energy, your actions are energy, your inactions are energy, your environment is energy. It's all a frequency, and you have the key within you to unlock anything you desire. I promise you this. I feel like I've been a walking, talking billboard of literally like transformation. So I promise you, anything is possible. And the more it doesn't make sense, sometimes the better when you're really open and not so much in your mind of like logic and analytics. Those are powerful and we need them, but really being open to the frequency, bringing everything to you and being in that action of what do I actually feel in this moment? And then how am I going to act on this energy?
Love that. Thank you so much. That was so powerful.
You're welcome.
Does anybody have a quick question for Lakshmi?
I just want to thank you. You were singing my song, and the way you articulated this was beautiful. Is your uncover an acronym? Is that the word?
Acronym, yeah.
Is it on your web? Do you have a website?
I do. My main website right now is my retreat page. I have a retreat in Costa Rica next month. I think that Haley, we shared a link for one of the things that I have is my cycle breaker. So we're all in a cycle all the time. And so it's like, what cycle are you in that you want to break? So it's a free offer. The uncover, and I do have a workshop actually that pretty much teaches this under the uncover method, but I don't have much info on it on my social media. So I can always reach out and connect with you though.
Awesome. Well, that was beautiful. I'd love to connect. And
Yeah.
is your contact information in the
I'll
chat?
put it in here. I think it's up in the chat, but I'll give you guys my
Okay.
Instagram, my Facebook, and yeah.
Thank
Love
you
it.
so much. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Regina, did you have a question?
Yes. Greetings, everyone.
Hi.
Thank you so much, Haley, for this opportunity. I've really been learning a whole lot. This particular session is simply mind-blowing. It's just that I really didn't get the name of the moderator. I really didn't get her name. Please, what's your name, ma'am?
It's Lakshmi Dev.
Lakshmi Dev. Thank you so much. What you just shared was something I really needed to hear, especially at this time of the year, January, as we're starting the year, because I think I've been doing it all wrong. so, so you
I
really,
doubt
really,
that. I think we just learn, as we go, right? It's a process.
so there's so many insights I've received and so much energy coming from you through your presentation. But please, I want to ask, you use certain acronyms, right? How can one get like a presentation paper or something where we can read through again? Because this kind of thing I
Yeah.
like to go through it again and again.
I
That's
have,
number one question. Sorry. Number
I'm
two
gonna make a
question.
note for myself.
Number two question is, I have a group of young women in my network here in Africa, Ghana precisely, and we have upcoming sessions, and I'm looking, one of the reasons I joined this particular training was we're looking forward to bringing on board some speakers, sessions who would inspire our young women to achieve their purpose, because we know that Africa has some very some peculiarities, and our society is such that it takes a whole lot for one to believe in themselves. So just going through your session brought, tears to my eyes, and I was wondering, how can we get you to come talk to our young women? I can imagine more people hearing about this kind of session, especially, tears to my eyes, and I was wondering, how can we get you to come talk to our young women? I can imagine more people hearing about this kind of session, especially this first quarter of the year. It would be amazing. So yeah, that's my question. Thank you so much.